Today, we got Thor and Sentry taking on Ghost Rider and Spawn. Who wins? Well, let's find out. Thor is the Asgardian god of thunder and the son of Odin, the All-Father of Asgard, and the elder earth goddess Gaia. Combining the power of both worlds, Thor is arguably the greatest and mightiest defender of both. Armed with his powerful enchanted Uru Hammer Mjolnir, Thor is the mightiest warrior of Asgard, a founding member of the Avengers, and one of the strongest, most powerful beings on Earth. Now, Thor is the strongest of the Asgardian gods, and his strength is considered to be incalculable and doesn't really have an upper limit. It's comparable to Hulk and Hercules. He can destroy entire planets with the force of his blows, and he's lifted the Midgard serpent, which was larger and weighed much more than the Earth. Thor is also one of the most durable heroes in the Marvel Universe, and has been able to withstand attacks from Hulk, planet-shattering blows, and energy blasts from Celestials and Odin. He's also able to go for extended periods of time without food, water, and sleep, and one time fought the Frost Giants for 9 months straight. He's actually one of the most trained and experienced warriors in the Marvel Universe as well, and is a skilled hand-to-hand fighter, even though he tends to use a brawling technique. He's also a highly skilled weapons expert, with the most notable weapon being Mjolnir. Now, besides the obvious fact that the hammer can be used to hit stuff, and even destroy mountains and planets, Mjolnir has a ton of abilities. Thor can control the weather, even affecting it on a planetary scale, and unleash electrical storms, hurricane winds, tornadoes, tidal waves, blizzards, and earthquakes. He's even done some out-of-the-box things too, like when he made it rain fire. While Thor doesn't have the innate ability to fly, if he swings Mjolnir at fast light speeds, he's then able to fly. Thor can also manipulate matter on a vast scale, and has the ability to transmute elements. He's able to turn intangible and invisible, and Mjolnir is also able to create nearly impenetrable force fields. He's able to absorb and project energy blasts with Mjolnir, and he doesn't even have to wait for an opponent to shoot a blast of energy, but he can absorb it directly from their body. One of Thor's most powerful attacks is the God Blast, which killed the Midgard serpent and injured Galactus. He also has the Anti-Force, which is unbelievably powerful, and took out the entire Battle Barbarians in one blast. And then on that same team, we got Sentry. After ingesting experimental super soldier formula, the lowly Robert Reynolds became the Sentry, one of the first and mightiest superheroes. He was trapped in a constant battle with his dark side known as the Void, though. After his membership with the Avengers, he joined Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers, and died after single-handedly destroying Asgard. However, more recently, Doctor Strange actually resurrected the Sentry to help him take on Loki. Now, Sentry is one of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe, and it's been stated that he has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Spider-Man and a group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents even ranked him as the most powerful hero on Earth, with Hulk being ranked as second, and Black Bolt being ranked as third. He possesses incredible superhuman strength, and is strong enough to overpower Ares, fight against Hulk, and beat down the female version of Ultron. He also possesses superhuman speed, and is fast enough to catch bullets in his hand, or even fly to the sun and back in just a few moments. It's been stated that Sentry is invincible. Well, except for his fragile mind. I should really say that he's physically invincible. He's immune to Rogue's powers, and after he was killed by Thor, he spent a period of time in the sun, where he was burned down to an atom, and regenerated endlessly until he was pulled out. And this is another thing. Sentry can resurrect himself from the dead and resurrect and heal others. He's also able to turn intangible and phase through objects, can emit a wave of radiation that can calm down the Hulk, and can even turn invisible. According to Emma Frost, Sentry is one of the most powerful telepaths on the planet, but most of his mental powers are used to maintain his physical form. Sentry also has matter manipulation powers, as he can reform himself after being blown apart, and it's even been said that he can control all forms of matter on the molecular level like Molecule Man. But in the other corner, we got Ghost Rider and Spawn. Johnny Blaze, a motorcycle stuntman, became bound to the spirit of vengeance known as Zarathos after making a deal with Mephisto to spare his surrogate father. With the power to control hellfire and to inflict pain on those he deems evil with his penance stare, Johnny seeks vengeance as the Ghost Rider. Now, Johnny is the medallion of power. It is actually what gives him the ability to turn into the Ghost Rider. It also grants him superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and durability. Now, as the Ghost Rider, Johnny's most notable ability is the penance stare. This attack causes others to experience a level of pain that is equivalent to what they've caused others as a result of illegal or immoral actions. Now, the way it works is that Ghost Rider locks eyes of his opponent while in close combat. It makes them feel all of the pain they've ever inflicted. However, the penance stare doesn't always work like it's supposed to. If Ghost Rider can't make eye contact, the opponent has more than two eyes, is blind, or is high on drugs like cocaine, then the penance stare won't work. And then the attack has actually backfired on him before, like when he used the penance stare on Venom, and Ghost Rider himself was knocked out. Johnny also has a supernatural steel chain that he uses as a weapon. He's able to grow it in length, transform it into other weapons like a spear, spin it as fast as a drill, and separate it into individual links and then throw them at enemies. Johnny also has complete control over hellfire and normal fire. It can generate and project hellfire in massive amounts, and manipulate it any way that he wants. He also has a motorcycle, which can travel much faster than normal motorcycles, and perform impossible feats, like driving straight up walls or across water, and is even occasionally driven in the air. Blaze and Zarathos the Demon often battle for control, with Johnny usually having dominance and is a bit more compassionate. But when Zarathos takes over, his power increases exponentially, to where he can easily battle against Doctor Strange and World War Hulk. And then finally, last but not least, we got Spawn. Albert Al Simmons was a highly trained assassin, but was murdered by his employer and former friend Chapel. He sold his soul to one of the many rulers of hell in order to see his wife Wanda Blake again. However, the demon had other things in mind for Al, and sent him back to Earth with no memory as a Hellspawn, one of his soldiers, to do his bidding. The source of Spawn's powers come from necroplasm, which gives him his superhuman strength and durability. He's even been able to easily lift an entire building and throw it. But Spawn's main weapon is his symbiotic suit, which is called Letha the Seventh House of K, or K7 Letha. The costume feeds off of necroplasm in his body, but the suit can also be powered by the evil from humans, certain animals like insects or bats, or even different parts of the city itself. This suit is actually connected to his central nervous system, and that allows him to control all parts of the suit, and the suit even protects him when he is unconscious. Now, Spawn uses the suit to create chains and spikes, and he's even been able to attack enemies with his cape, and the cape has been able to cut and dismember limbs. However, what's interesting is that Spawn's powers are really only limited by his imagination. But because of his military training, he often prefers to use firearms instead of his powers. However, Spawn also has powers that are unique to him and other Hellspawns don't have. He can detect when someone is in danger or has been killed. And he's also able to feel negative emotions like pain, hatred, and misery. There's also a time where Spawn possessed 6,000 souls inside his body and drew upon their powers, but those souls have now been removed. However, he still has access to their knowledge and experience. Spawn also has access to a plethora of magical powers, as long as he has the energy storage to perform the abilities. Spawn can breathe hellfire, shoot energy blasts from his hands, generate electricity, set people on fire, can create and control plants, summon a Hellspawn army, teleport, turn intangible and invisible, phase through objects, stop time, resurrect the dead. He has a healing ability, he can launch telepathic attacks, and has his own version of the Penance Stare, where instead of making people feel the pain of their past, the souls that they have injured or wronged actually come back and attack the person's soul. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, just to make this fight a bit more fair, even the playing field a little bit, we're going to be using Hell King Spawn, and allow Ghost Rider to be controlled and taken over by Zarathos. And at the same time, we're going to take morals off, meaning that Thor and Sentry won't be holding back like they normally do, especially Thor. So who comes out on top here? Well, right off the bat, Thor and Sentry are definitely physically more powerful. Don't think anyone has a real debate there. But just how powerful are these heroes? Well, Thor has hit Beta Ray Bill and Gore the God Butcher hard enough to shatter planets. His battles with Hercules have generated enough force to throw the planet out of orbit, and he's injured Galactus with a throw from Mjolnir, and even momentarily knocked out the Phoenix Force. He's durable enough to survive having a planet blow up underneath him, and taking attacks from Surtur and Zeus, so Skyfather level beings. Was blasted by 3 Celestials and yet kept on going, and survived energy fire that atomized the abomination. He's even broken out of the gravitational pull of a neutron star, survived 20 planets worth of pressure, and withstood a bomb that had blown up a ship the size of a small solar system. And then, while Sentry isn't quite as powerful as a Thor who's truly letting loose, he's not too far behind. I mean, at his best, he went blow for blow for World War Hulk. He would just trashed the entirety of the heroes on Earth. He's overpowered Thor, destroyed moons with the shockwaves of his blows, and probably most impressively, was able to overpower the Void, who had just broken every bone in the Hulk's body, ripped Ares apart, and overpowered Thor as well. He's also nigh invulnerable, to the point where Hulk was punching him and Sentry was just asking him for more. And thanks to his healing factor, he basically can't be put down. In fact, Sentry has been put down several times in the past, either by Molecule Man, Morgan Le Fay, or Thor, but he always comes back. Even with Morgan Le Fay, when she supposedly erased him from all of existence, he just came back. So yeah, Thor and Sentry are definitely physically more powerful. But that really shouldn't faze Ghost Rider and Spawn too much. For starters, they've got some physical strength and durability as well. I mean, Spawn has fought against Urizen, a being equal to God and Satan in power, and their fight was causing the whole world to shudder. And that was before he became the Hell King and gained an increase in power. And then Ghost Rider, with Zarathos in control, has fought against a whole Avengers team, including Thor. But where these guys really shine has got to be their durability. Ghost Rider has taken attacks from World War Hulk and the Avengers. Spawn has been hit by comets, and they have a fantastic healing factor on top of that. Ghost Rider is also able to just instantly reform after pretty much any attack. Spawn is technically dead, so he doesn't really break his stride no matter what hits him, and to top it all off, neither of these characters can permanently be put down, except by magical attacks. They can't even really be hurt by anything physical. And it's at this point that we've kinda gotta rule out Sentry as a non-factor. He doesn't have magical attacks, and can't permanently injure Ghost Rider and Spawn. They can just heal from his attacks. And so the best Sentry can do is just keep them distracted until Thor can come in and finish him off. Eva's molecular manipulation powers, where he beats Molecule Man, won't really be enough to beat these heroes. Not to mention that Sentry doesn't utilize that power very often. However, Thor does have magical abilities, and very powerful magical abilities like that. His lightning has hurt the Void, Chaos King, and broken magical spells. He's absorbed planet-busting explosions, and enough power to ignite a sun, and can then return that energy 100-fold, and can send enemies to other dimensions, like when he sent Surtur to the dimension of death. He's even shot blast powerful enough to blow up a planet. His anti-blast is as hot and powerful as a star, and his God Blast is powerful enough to kill a weakened Galactus. So yeah, Thor is crazy powerful, especially when he's not holding it back. However, it's going to take more than just raw power to win this fight. And that's when we flip over and talk about Ghost Rider and Spawn. Now, Spawn's powers run on necroplasm. And while normal Spawn has a necroplasm counter of 9,999, as the Hell King, he has an unlimited amount of necroplasm. His Hellfire Blasts are strong enough to melt the gates of St. Peter. He can teleport at the speed of light, melt brains, transmute anything into something else, increase his size to a city block, and as Hell King, the only way to kill him is either total annihilation or using a heaven-forged weapon against him. He could send people into hell, teleport inside people, and then rip them apart from the inside out. He can create fissures in the earth or tidal waves with his power of the green, and it's even been said that when Spawn unleashes his blast, he's unleashing the power of hell itself. So Spawn is definitely a powerful magical being. However, the true heavy hitter, and definitely the MVP of the fight, has got to be Ghost Rider, aka Zarathos. Dr. Strange once said that Ghost Rider is a wonder of mystic design, with there being a vast difference between Johnny Blaze and the actual Ghost Rider. Blaze, and every human host really, acts as a built-in safety, and is designed to limit the Ghost Rider's powers simply due to the fact that he is human. And the Ghost Rider with Zarathos at the handle, not Johnny, well, that guy is godlike, and his powers are boundless. For starters, Ghost Rider fought against the Avengers, and kinda trashed on Thor, and was supposedly able to beat World War Hulk as well. Now, one of Ghost Rider's signature moves is his Hellfire, along with Spawn's, but I don't think it's going to be super effective against Thor and Sentry. I mean, a massive explosion from Zarathos was enough to injure, but not even be close to putting down World War Hulk. And all three of those heroes are around the same level. On top of that, Thor has the ability to absorb Energy Blast, including Magical Blast. One time, he even absorbed a blast from a being called Glory, who was supposedly as powerful as a pissed off Odin, and then redirected that blast back at Glory and killed him. However, I think the most important thing about this fight is the Penance Stare. Now, the Penance Stare actually operates very different than a lot of people think, as most people just assume that it harms the souls of the wicked and those who have sinned. And while, yes, in theory, that's true, but the catch is that the spirit of vengeance gets to define what counts as a sin. If you think about sinning, boom, Penance Stare. If you endanger innocence, even while trying to do the right thing, boom, Penance Stare. So that instantly qualifies Thor and Sentry. And the thing is, Zarathos has a whole lot looser sense of sin than Johnny Blaze, as he believes that all life is a sin, and only the human host is keeping him in check from just penance staring everyone he sees. The Penance Stare is kind of like the ultimate attack, as all the pain that you've inflicted on others is applied over and over again. Every hit, every cut, every blast. And since Zarathos counts everything that Thor and Sentry have done as a sin, just imagine all of that punishment being inflicted on these heroes. That's crazy. Then just to top it all off, Ghost Rider is able to create duplicate avatars of himself, with basically all the same powers, and can even transport enemies to his realm, where him and his avatars are essentially omnipotent. So end of the day, who wins? Well, Sentry is definitely the weak link here, as he can't really hold his own against such powerful magical beings. However, a Thor who's letting loose is no joke. He can possibly hang with Skyfather beings even, and I really believe he beats Spawn. But Zarathos is a different story. For starters, he's already trashed Thor before when they fought on Mojo World. He also has absolutely no counter for Ghost Rider's Penance Stare. And Zarathos is just too much, especially with Thor having to battle against Spawn at the same time. Ghost Rider and Spawn win. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just one every single weekday, and I'll see you next time.